What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel on a crazy Wednesday because the title is crazy, the news report is crazy, and it's going on for quite a while. Snippets here and there, of potential things moving. Big ownerships or big companies or a big company buying shares into Juve the next day or the next week, I must say, buying even more shares into Juve, and all the things about Agnelli's court case, that he will get it dismissed, basically, with charges, so on, so on. But this story I was not expecting, and I need to talk about it because Enrico Testa is actually a good journalist, in my opinion. I've read stuff of him in the past, and it's good, it's serious, but the story is crazy. The story is that basically Agnelli is trying to buy Juve away from Exor, so John Elkann, get the majority stake in the club, not on his own, obviously, with help of an American fund and also the backing of Red Bull. And you might say, Red Bull? Why Red Bull? Because they wanted to buy Torino. Now, they're not going to buy Juve completely. They're not going to change the name because that's what Red Bull does. That's the weird part, or that's one of the weird things at the story. And to top it off, Jurgen Klopp comes into play. But the main focus where you need to start with this is Andrea Agnelli, because his name is popping off. And that means two things. The results are so bad. Ownership has been so absent the last couple of years that it means it's good to use Agnelli, because, hey, save us type of news. And two, it's because Agnelli wants to come back for certain. So let's talk about it. Before we do that, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and let's go. Okay, so like I said, the center of it all is Agnelli, who I think, if I need to ask you guys, and you can leave the comment already right now, how many of you guys who are watching this video think that at one point ever, it could be next season, 10 years, 20 years, Andrea Agnelli will be back in quote unquote charge of the club? I'm going to go and say, if 10 people watch this video, I'm going to say a good 7 to 8 believe that at one point he will be back at the club. So that is what will be there and drive these reports, that he wants to come back, because he never wanted to leave. He was forced out, like all the others, but he was forced out. He never woke up and he was like, you know what? I'm done. I had enough of this. He was forced out of the club. So yes, he wants to come back, and everybody knows that. Everybody has that feeling. And right now, it's fashionable because it's going bad. Everybody's on the case of the management. Everybody's, starting a witch hunt for them, basically. So it's easy to use. Now, there have been rumblings about he's coming back with funds, with other parties, buying stake in the club, and he gets, quote unquote, control of the club, so on, so on. But this story is crazy. So let me read it out really quickly. It's coming from La Stampa. Tuttosport kind of unpacked it, or like the journalist talked about it on social media. Let me rephrase it. He works for La Stampa, and again, he writes good articles. In the past, I like reading his stuff. Now, what he is saying is that, okay, through his social media, that's where he said it, that Testa claimed that, the former president, so Andrea Agnelli, excuse me, is interested in personally taking over the club, separating from Exor, so John Elkann, controlled by his cousin, like I said, with the support of an investment fund, which apparently should be an American investment fund. Negotiations have reportedly been ongoing for a couple of months. According to Tessa, the person handling the matter for Juve, so John Elkann in this case, is President Gianluca Ferrero. So he might be doing something, instead of sleeping during the game. An American investment fund could be backing Agnelli, and and there are speculations, that Red Bull recently interested in buying Torino or investing in Torino, the football club, might be involved. And Andrea Agnelli has supposedly already chosen the man to lead the club, and that's Jurgen Klopp, because the former Liverpool manager has been appointed to Red Bull head of global soccer, the same American fund that could support Andrea Agnelli. Now, when you hear this story, I'm going to say 99% of the fans are saying, well, that's bullshit. It's way too much to unpack. it's crazy, so on. And I 100% agree. A lot of things make absolutely no sense. The only thing that makes sense to me is that he wants to come back. And the only way for him to come back is, in my opinion, being in total control of the club, not working under John Elkann, not working, quote unquote, for his cousin. And to do that, he needs funds. He's rich and he might have enough money to buy the club, but that means he has zero left. So that's not gonna happen. So he's gonna need help. Those things make sense. Those things make sense. That's the only way I see him coming back to the club. So that's the part where I'm like, makes sense. Where I'm completely gone with it is the Red Bull stuff, where it comes out. That's an easy thing where they wanted to buy Torino and Cairo is not selling. So that's not happening. So, hey, they're in Torino. Why not invest in Juve? Because Red Bull, when they invest heavily and they rename teams. They take teams completely over. They become the brand, what Jurgen Klopp is overseeing right now. So that doesn't really make sense. If you're Agnelli and you come back to the fans, you're like, you know what? It's Red Bull now. Fans are gone. Like the tradition of the club needs to be respected. That's absolutely not going to happen. So that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. And what even makes less sense, it's the Jurgen Klopp stuff. He's not coming because the story is that he's coming back, that Agnelli wants him to coach. It's not going to happen. I think he made it very clear that he's done with it. He's enjoying life. He's still involved in football, but in a different way, not as stressful, completely different. He's not coming back to be the coach. So a lot of these points in this story make no sense whatsoever. But some points actually do make sense. They do make sense up to a point where I'm like, yeah, I think he wants to come back. And yeah, if he comes back, that means Elkann needs out. And without, I mean, not have the majority share of the club. So he doesn't have it, he doesn't have control, the final say, whatever. That's the only way. And the only way to make that happen is, yes, he needs to find funds. And it's Saudi links, it's American funds. Like I've read it all, I've seen it all. It's a lot of speculation. I think the story unfolded based on the matter of it's going bad and management is not working. If this was really, really true, and again, I think there's some truth to it regarding Agnelli, but if a lot of these things were true, a lot of these stuff would have leaked by now because it's so big, it's so massive that leaks will come out. Leaks would have come out, and other things would make more sense. This is not really making any sense. Maybe the Ferrero hiring, you hope it makes sense. So at least he's doing a job at the club, and we're not paying him to absolutely do nothing. But yeah, it's way too much. It sounds like a complete made up story because there's way too much information to unfold, to unpack. It's just very difficult for me, or I think anyone, to sit there and be like, yeah, makes 100% all correct. I do believe there's truth to the story, but not to this extent. And also not at this pace, because that would be the absolute bombshells of bombshells if this kind of unfolds. Not even to this extent, but him coming back with funds, taking over, even from now until the end of the season, for that to unpack is just way too much to be true. Like, it's just too much. So I would say, let us sit in. Let me know what you think. Do you believe anything of the story? Because I believe the part where he wants to come back. And if he comes back, that means he needs to buy out Elkann or Exor because he wants to be there and he doesn't want to listen to anyone, and especially not his cousin who forced him out of the club in the first place. So all that, I agree with all the rest. I think it's far-fetched. I don't like it's for me impossible to understand. But even though I think the bombshell would be him coming back with funds and basically taking over. Anyway, let me know in the comments. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll speak to you guys soon. Ciao.